Come on, man. Cool. Yeah, I want to ask you a question. So, first of all, I just want to disclaimer because people ain't know. I don't know if this might come out before Darius's or not. I'm gonna give a disclaimer.
Yeah.
So he gave some game in the Darius interview, right? Made him sweat. He was like, man, I just made X amount of dollars off that play, right?
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know, it's gonna get worse. Cause I'm about to fuck you up. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm about to get all the game.
Let's get into it.
All right. So before I go there, I got a question. You was in a sales space.
Yeah.
Going crazy. And from what I just heard, you just did a crazy month or a couple months. I think you paid 6 figures in like 2 months.
2.5.
2.5 months. Insane. Right? I couldn't even do it right.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. So I want to ask you this before. Do you think the GOAT gene is something you're born with, or is that something that you acquire over time?
I think it's something you acquire over time. I think traumatic events affect that GOAT gene. Like, you have to go through something traumatic. Like, say, for instance, with Kobe, he lived in Italy. The kids would call him racist names. So what he did was he got better in basketball to beat him in ball. And beat him bad where it was no competition. And you've seen it when he got to the NBA. It was that relentless pressure, right? So I feel like that GOAT gene comes from traumatic events in your life at a younger age.
What was your traumatic event then? Because you clearly been going crazy since you got into sales.
Yo, let me tell you, man, my mother, I grew up with single mother, you know what I'm saying? My father, he lived in Brooklyn, but never really came to come see us. And my mother, she was super strong. But she kind of went into like alcoholism. She started drinking and everything. Then we ended up in and out of the system. You know, we was in and out of foster care. And what happened is I had to learn how to fight. I had to learn how to protect myself, right? And protect my brothers. You know, I'm a middle brother, so my older brother protected me. But basically, it helped me to become a man early, to be aware of things. So what I learned is just to be observant. Sometimes I'm laughing and talking, but I'm watching your body language. And that's sales too. Like, if I'm selling something to somebody, I'm looking at their body language. Like, I want to know, are you interested or are you not? What objection I'm going to get? Because I could see it from your body language as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I got a lot of, I like to call like homies that watch my show. You know, regular that's in the project, you know what I'm saying? Might not be a big business company right now, right? That might watch, but for my homies that's in the projects that might be like, they got the girl in their ear, their relationship is shaky, is rocky because their money ain't, you know what I'm saying? They credit scores some, right? I need you to swallow your pride.
Oh, man.
And I need you to give me from A to Z. Well, how far are we in? 25 minutes. If they watch this for 25 minutes, they deserve it.
Yeah.
From A to Z, no cut cards, don't hold back. How would you tell your son, your brother, somebody you really care for, from A to Z, if this was your mentorship class, how do they go from, scum, bottom of the floor, to getting, let's say, $100,000 in that bank account?
So before I get you from A to Z, it's a mindset thing, right? So I always tell people, you got to be ready to change. Because if you ain't ready to change, you're gonna fall right back in that way. So we might get from A to D, and then we got to start back to A. So we can't get to Z. So first and foremost is realizing where you at, not necessarily hiding from where you at and saying, all right, cool, I messed up right now. It's time to step it up. But the first thing I would do, right, I would leverage free apps, right? So Credit Karma. First thing I would do is look at Credit Karma, look at my credit score, right? See what's wrong. Through Credit Karma, you can dispute any negative items on your credit report.
By myself? Without
right by yourself.
How
right by yourself. So what you would do is you'll go to the dispute tab, and then from there, it'll give you options, and you'll be able to push one of those options to submit your anything that's derogatory or negative on your account into dispute.
That simple, that easy.
I didn't even know.
Very,
So nobody,
very simple.
why niggas ain't doing that? That makes sense.
Let me tell you, my first car, I was 18 years old. I had it literally for a week. And it hit me with almost like a 25 APR. I didn't know. I had it literally for a week. I crashed it. But guess what? I disputed it off my credit report. Yeah, 100%. And that was before I knew about credit, right? I used Credit Karma.
Okay.
I used Credit Karma.
So I don't even got to go to ChatGPT and let's do a letter.
No, ChatGPT, well, this is a different time now. That was 2012,
okay.
Right? For ChatGPT now, super powerful. It's a super powerful source to help you, right?
Okay.
So from there, once I realize, all right, cool, what's derogatory on my account, I dispute it. From there, what you want to do is be aware of your finances, really understand what's going in and what's coming out, right?
Mhm.
Because now you might have just latenesses. You may just have to catch up. Now we don't got a closing account like that. We can just dispute latenesses, right?
Okay. So
So
I'm sorry. So lateness is because some people be like, man, just let it charge off. Don't do that. Try to catch up. Which one would you suggest? It's a hard time or f***ed up right now.
I'm gonna tell you right now. If you let it charge off, what you're doing is you're hurting the age of your credit report.
Okay.
So remember,
Now-
age is.
What?
I was gonna say, when y'all say charge off to the average listener, what do you mean by charge off?
Like fuck that car. We'll run off.
Like just close the account?
Yeah. So
okay.
What happens is the lender will charge it off as a loss. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would suggest at the end of the day, that's what I would suggest. I wouldn't suggest charging off if you're just late. Try to catch up.
Okay.
But if it charges off now, then at that point, now we can dispute it off your credit report. And the easiest things to dispute off your credit report are charge-offs.
Okay. Okay. So now we go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So from there, what I'll do is, let's say, for instance, you're somebody who have good credit, but you have good. I mean, you have no derogatories, no latenesses, right? But one thing you have that's hurting you is credit usage. I would go over to Credit Karma again because this is free, and we don't have the money right now. And I would go over to the loans tab, right? And once I go over to the loans tab, I want you to think like the banks, right? So if your rent is 30% of your income, guess what? You still have other life expenses. The bank is not going to give you no money. So what I want you to do is, I want you to think like the banks, right? So make sure your rent is under 10% of what you're making yearly.
This is in real life, or this is what I'm telling them?
Huh? This is in real life. So when you're going through the loans tab on Credit Karma, they'll ask you, what is your yearly salary? Then they'll ask you, what are you paying in rent monthly? Do you own or do you rent, and how much you paying them?
So am I making these numbers up? Because a lot of times they ask me.
I wouldn't necessarily tell you to make it up. But again, I'm going to tell you this. You got to think like the banks.
Oh, I like that.
I'm not going to tell you to make up anything at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing, a lot of these bridge loan companies, what they do is they'll connect Plaid to your account. And if you say what you don't have, more than likely you're going to be declined.
Okay.
But again, I'm going to tell you, think like the banks.
Cool.
Once you get over to that loans tab and you put in what you're looking for, you'll see like a One Main, you'll see SoFi, you'll see Upgrade, you'll see Upstart. These are bridge loan companies. And what happens is, initially, a bridge loan, essentially, their interest rate's a little high. Mm-hmm. They're a little high, the interest rates. But if we can get you out of debt by basically covering your debt to income ratio, your credit usage, we're able to pretty much bring your credit score up. All right. Okay. So again, it's almost like a wash game. Once we move that money over, a bridge loan over to paying all your cards off, your credit score is going to go up, because essentially credit usage is 30% of your business. 30% of your credit score. Credit usage.
Right. So wait, the bridge loan is a loan to cover to pay off your personal loans.
If you have that, it's a loan to pay off your credit cards. Because remember, loans, installment accounts don't show on your credit report as usage, only credit cards.
Okay.
So only credit cards show up on your credit report as usage. So we want to be able to cover those credit card debt with a loan, because it will offset that, bring your credit score up to a 700, potentially an 800 credit score, and now we in the game to get you business funding. Now what we can do is, once you get to business funding, right? Let's say, for instance, you're ready for business funding.
Don't hold back.
Now, let's say you're ready for business funding, right? The number one thing we look at, a lot of people say credit score, right? They say credit score, but what matters more is the credit profile, right? So obviously, what the banks look for is 7 to 10 primary accounts. Primary, it could be, we like credit mix though. It could be an auto loan. It can be a mortgage. It can be multiple credit cards. And then if you have credit cards, we're looking for high limit credit cards. But if not, let's say from a 2,500 to 5,000 range.
It's not bad.
If we have multiple cards. Now what we do, because that's such thing as comparable credit, right? So the banks look at comparable credit. So they'll look at your credit and say, hey, all right, he's leveraging this credit pretty well. He currently has under a 10% usage. He has under 10% usage. Let's come in and triple his limits. Now we can go to a Chase, right? Which pulls from Experian, and we can go and get you 50 to 75,000. But that's not it. You could double dip on Chase and get two credit cards. As long as you're at 150,000, they won't require any paperwork
On like how much you make.
or how much you make.
But if I don't make that, then what? I just
Remember, it's projected income.
so you ain't gonna tell us, but
I ain't
you
telling
know,
you.
I'm following what you said.
Listen, I ain't telling you that.
I'm following what you said.
What?
So let me rewind real quick. So Upstart, that's an actual. I thought that was just like like one of them credit profile builders. They give you loans too.
Give you loans as well, personal loans.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is news to me.
Upstart, Upgrade, SoFi. There's so many of them, to be honest.
And they give you bridge loans to pay off your credit card debt.
Yeah, debt consolidation loans.
Is it a credit score minimum? Is it a credit profile minimum?
Well, so they do approve. I think if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, but I believe it was 520 and above. Yeah, it all depends on your income and your debt to income.
Wait,
What
is
you pay
that
in rent?
Is that income projected too?
All right, yo, listen, I'm gonna say this again. I'm not telling you that. Use it at your own discretion.
Yo,
Yeah.
he's coming crazy.
Nah, yeah, it's going crazy. So that's definitely like a play, right? So again, that's definitely a play. So when you're looking at like a credit profile, just having a properly structured profile, credit usage is there, right? You want to be under 10%, because if you're at that 30% mark, it shows that you're in a financial crisis, that you don't have it right now. You know what I'm saying? So the goal is to be able to be under that 10% because that'll raise your score. But if you're under that 30% mark, let's say 20, it's not going to hurt you. But if you're under 10, it's better for you to raise your score up. Yeah.
You got something cool?
Yeah, no, because something else, because we're talking about credit. Recently, a lot of people have been using these buy now, pay later type platforms.
Yeah.
Like the Affirms, the Klarna, the Afterpays, and things of that nature. What does that impact on credit? You know what I'm saying? As far as, does it raise your credit? Does it do anything? Because I know there's interest rates, but how does that affect? Does that affect your credit at all? As people
Absolutely. If you don't pay it, it's going to come on your credit report.
Right.
Yeah.
But does it raise it? Would this?
Well, I'll tell you this, right? I currently have a firm right now. I have a firm, and it's not affecting my credit report because again, it's one of those installment accounts. It's not considered like a credit card.
Okay.
It's an installment account. So again, as long as you're paying your installment account on time and a timely basis, it's not going to affect your credit report. But if you mess up on it, it will affect your credit report.
100%.
As far as like the collections aspect.
Correct. Collections, correct.